والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. I'm sorry if I've startled you with my slide, but a lot of people want proof for something like this. I don't have any proof for the number, but I kind of look at it like this. How long have we been Muslims? How long have you been going to the Jummah prayer? Let's even, if it was just 10 years, that is about 50 khutbahs a year, plus or minus a few. That might be about 500 khutbahs just over 10 years. 500 khutbahs, think about it. That's the equivalent of a master's degree. What do we have to show for it? 500 khutbahs later, 10 years later, what do we have to show for all of these classes that we've been to? When was the last time you heard a khutbah and your life changed because of it? And yet that's the intent. Most of us can't even remember the topic of the very last khutbah that you went to. And so that's why I say 95% of khutbahs suck, but that's probably not fair. That's not true. I think, to be more honest, it'd be better to say 99% of our khutbahs suck. Islam is a gorgeous faith, and it has a mountain-moving tradition of learning and development. Specifically in the khutbah itself, which is it's an institution that was created by Allah for us to get together every single week. And one of the focuses there is learning, and it's for our growth. It's for our own benefit. So it was created by Allah. The person who gives the khutbah, they stand where the Prophet stood. Think about the responsibility of that. In fact, in Islam, the audience is not even allowed to turn around and ask somebody behind them to be quiet. If you look at from the Islamic rules of the khutbah, no other tradition has that. And yet we consistently don't take advantage of this. That's why I say that dullness is a sin. Because boring khutbahs actually prevent you from reaching the audience. It prevents that message of change. So our system is broken right now. We've created, I don't know, you can call it monsters. At the minbar, there's very literal relevance to most of the people who come. There's a huge disconnect. There's a cult of personality, and they've largely scared away the next generation. In the Christian church, they have a term for that. It's called unchurched. So I think an equivalent term for us might be unmosqued. It's that people who are getting scared away from the masjid. And we see it more and more. I'll give you a good illustration of this. A few days ago, I went to a masjid, a large masjid in southwest Houston. And at the Fajr prayer, there might have been about 30, 35 people. And of all of these people, there were at least 30 of them were above the age of 50. And then there were 2 or 3 middle schoolers, and then there was me. So what happened to the 20-somethings? Where are the 30-somethings in our communities? I think that they have become unmosqued because they don't find relevance at the minbars. And when this generation loses the connection with the masajid, then they become spiritual islands, just hovering around in the community. And they lose interest or any type of passion in Muslim institutions. So what happens in 10 years from now when the keys for the masjid and for these institutions get handed over to the next generation? I'm not interested in supporting a building that costs $20,000 a month that I haven't used since I might have been in middle school. It's not for me. And so what I've done is, after some frustration with the khutbahs themselves, I would kind of leave, and I'd go home and I'd write the types of messages that I would want to hear, and that I think that enough people would want to listen to. And so I created Fridays Matter. It's not a new tradition. Rather, I think it's getting back to the root of what the khutbah is supposed to be for all of us. So I've done a couple of things. I have made a curriculum. There's pedagogy built into the khutbahs. I've written khutbahs, and I've delivered some khutbahs. Maybe you've listened to them, maybe you haven't. But what you'll find in every khutbah, there's a learning outcome. I know what I want every single person to know, one thing, before I even start the khutbah. The khutbahs are story-based. The khutbahs train the person who would give the khutbah. I would say in this khutbah, make sure you focus on the following two things. And I'll tell you in the khutbah where you should focus on them. At this point, make sure you highlight this. Not only that, but I've taken my khutbahs, I had them professionally edited. There's an editing agency in Portland, Oregon. It's called the Mighty Pen. They review the khutbahs, they go through, and yeah, they fix the spelling and the grammar and stuff like that. But they do much deeper content analysis. Not only that, I have the khutbahs graphically designed. Is that overkill? It might be. But it's nice to have a document that looks good. It feels better. You can edit it, and you can change it. You can add your own notes. If you don't like one of my stories, add your own stories. The khutbahs have been written for an audience based on the message of change, which is what the khutbah is about. It's about helping the community change. So it is a purpose built for community change. And it is a very khutbah-centric approach, obviously. I say that the khutbahs are 3D. So here's what I want you to remember from this, that the khutbahs are deep. In every single khutbah that I have created, there's over 100 hours of research that have been put into it. Meaning I take this responsibility very seriously. And I get frustrated by those people who wake up on a Friday morning and they get a call or a text and they realize that they have to give a khutbah that day. And even if they don't, if they haven't understood the pressure of giving a khutbah, it's just right, then they would have wasted that. So the khutbahs are deep, they're edited, I have an Islamic reviewer, a noted Muslim personality who reviews every khutbah, adds content to it, they go up on the web. The second part of this is change. These are messages that inspire action, not for the next 6 months, not when this issue occurs. But it's something that you can do right here today. Before you get up and leave this setting, you would be able to implement whatever you heard in the khutbah right then and there. And there's a plan of action. Here's a small challenge, here's a big challenge. Finally, it's curricular. It's a sequence, it's an orchestrated plan for growth. I'll show you that in just a moment. There's a preview in every khutbah. Typically what I do when I'm scheduled to give a khutbah somewhere, I'll go out beforehand. I'll go on a Thursday night or on a Wednesday night, and I'll tell the audience, I'll tell them, here's what the khutbah topic is going to be this Friday. Can you imagine going to a place and knowing what the khutbah topic is going to be that week? Not only that, but I'll go back on a Sunday evening or a Saturday evening after the khutbah, and I'll follow up that khutbah with another message, like, here's what we spoke about. Here's a simple way that we can implement that, or here's a follow-up to that. So that message is reinforced, and it's pushed. So there's always a takeaway. And the last thing I want to do is just show you the website. It's at fridaysmatter.com. It looks like this. What you'll find at the top is the curriculum. This is one khutbah for every week of the year. There are different series. So here's a parenthood series. There's different topics. There's only one khutbah online right now. We can click into that. Here's what it looks like. Here's a preview. It has an expiration date. Haven't you heard a khutbah that you thought should have expired a long time ago? You can rate the khutbah if you like. The learning objective is very clear. And it's obvious. The khutbah al-Hajjah is here. There's even a transliteration, and the khutbah goes on. If you don't like some section of this, you're welcome to copy all of this and paste it in Word and to cut stuff out and use whatever you want and don't want, or you're welcome to print out the PDF and you'll be able to use that document itself. At the best or worst, you can leave comments at the end of this. I welcome any feedback on this project, and I hope that it's something that's beneficial to you. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.